My neighbor called me delusional. I said I was growing avocados on my balcony. She laughed. 3 months later, she was at my door asking how. Because here's what nobody tells you. You don't need land to grow fruit. You don't need a backyard. You don't even need much space. You need a pot, the right trees, and this list. One of these pays for itself in a single season. One produces for 20 years in a container. One gives you fruit that literally doesn't exist in stores because it's too fragile to ship. And number one, most people don't even realize it grows this way. Stick around for the bonus at the end too. It's the single thing that separates people whose container trees die from people who can't give the fruit away fast enough. Let's go. Welcome back. And if this is your first time, you just found the channel that proves you don't need a yard, a budget, or a green thumb to eat fruit you actually grew yourself. Hit subscribe. Every week I drop something that'll save you money or save you a dead plant. Sometimes both. Alright, number 15, passion fruit. And this one breaks the rules immediately. It's not a tree, it's a vine. But in a pot with a simple trellis or a piece of wire mesh against a wall, it becomes a living wall that produces fruit in under a year. Go with Frederick or Panama Red. These are the varieties that actually perform in containers, compact enough to manage, productive enough to justify the space. Here's what the pictures don't prepare you for. The flower. Passion fruit blooms look like something an alien architect designed. Purple and white, layered, almost mechanical. People stop and ask what it is. You tell them it becomes fruit in about 60 days. They don't believe you. One vine produces 20 to 30 fruits in the first season, and each one at the store is $2 to $4. That's $60 to $120 of fruit from something that started as a cutting in a pot. It loves heat. It loves something to climb, and it's drought tolerant once established, which means it forgives the weeks you forget about it. Container gardening, living wall, statement piece, one plant does all three. Number 14, kiwi. And I know what you're picturing, a massive commercial vine sprawling over steel frames in New Zealand, except nobody told the Isai hardy kiwi that. This variety is self-pollinating, which matters because most kiwi plants need a male and female to fruit. The Isai doesn't. One plant, one pot, fruit. Year 2 or 3, it starts producing small, grape-sized kiwi fruit. And here's the part that changes things. You eat them skin and all, no peeling, you just pop them in your mouth. The skin is smooth, not fuzzy, and the flavor is more intense than any large kiwi you've bought at a store. In cold climates, the vine goes dormant in winter, all the way down to 0 degrees Fahrenheit in some cases, and then comes roaring back in spring like nothing happened. The pot means you can move it to a sheltered spot before a hard freeze and give it just enough protection to make it through. And on a trellis or pergola post, it looks intentional, architectural, but like you planned a beautiful climbing plant that also happens to give you fruit. Because you did. Number 13, mulberry, Illinois everbearing or dwarf everbearing. This is the fastest producing true fruit tree you can put in a container. Berries sometimes in the first season, reliably by year 2. Here's the warning nobody gives you up front. The fruit stains, fingers, clothes, concrete, anything it touches. Deep purple, black, permanent. But here's what I want you to understand about that stain. It's proof of something real. Mulberries are so fragile, so perishable, that they essentially don't exist commercially. They can't be picked, shipped, and shelved. The moment they're ripe, they need to be eaten. Within a day or two at most. If you're growing them at home, you're eating something that 99% of people will never taste in their lives. The flavor sits between a blackberry and a raspberry with a sweetness that hits differently. And the tree itself, it's beautiful. Long, arching branches, lush leaves, fruit hanging like jewelry. Compact varieties stay under 5 feet in a container. It doesn't need much. Average soil, regular water, a sunny spot. The barrier to entry is almost nothing. The reward is fruit most people have genuinely never tasted. Number 12, olive, arbequina, or picholine. This is the long game, and I want to be honest with you about that. Year 1, 2, 3, the tree is decorating your space. Silver green leaves that shimmer in the wind, a gnarled trunk that looks like it belongs in Tuscany, a calm visual presence that makes every other plant look restless. Year 3 or 4, the olives arrive, small, waxy, perfect, dozens of them. Then as the tree matures, hundreds. One mature container olive can produce up to 20 pounds of fruit per year. And here's the part people miss. You can cure them yourself, at home, with nothing but salt and water. The process takes a few weeks. The result is olives that make grocery store jars taste like a compromise. Arbequina is the easiest and most container-friendly. Naturally compact, heavy producer, mild buttery flavor. The tree thrives in heat and handles drought better than almost anything else. It doesn't want rich soil. It doesn't want to be babied. It wants sun, decent drainage, and to be left alone. And with basic care, this tree outlives you. Plant it for yourself. Now pass it down to someone who will appreciate it. Number 11, guava, tropical dwarf, or ruby supreme. I'll give you the pitch in one sentence. A 3-foot tree that fruits twice a year, smells like a candle when it blooms, and packs more vitamin C than an orange. Twice a year. Most fruit trees give you one harvest window, one season, one shot. Guava gives you 2, spring and fall in most climates. That's not a small thing. That's double the production from the same pot, same soil, same space. The flowers are white and delicate, with that dense citrus tropical scent that hits you when you open the patio door in the morning. The fruit comes in yellow-green on the outside, pink or white inside depending on variety, with a flavor that's floral and dense in a way that tropical fruit somehow always is. At specialty stores, single guavas run $2 to $5 each. A productive tree gives you dozens per cycle and 2 cycles a year. In warm climates, it lives outside year-round. In cold climates, you bring it inside before the first frost. It doesn't go fully dormant. It just slows down, keeps its leaves, and waits. Put it in your brightest window, water it lightly, and in spring it goes back out and acts like nothing happened. It's one of the most underrated container fruit trees on this entire list. Number 10, pomegranate. If you're convinced you have a black thumb, this is your starting point. Pomegranates evolved in arid, rocky, unforgiving environments. Their root system is naturally compact, which means they don't fight the container the way most fruit trees do. They settle in, they adapt, they produce. Go with a 15 to 20 gallon container, which you can get free from any restaurant or bakery that uses food-grade buckets. Ask, and they'll usually hand them over. One established tree gives you 15 to 30 fruits per season. At current grocery prices for pomegranates, you're saving $50 to $70 a year, being conservative. Factor in a few years of production and the math gets ridiculous fast. Here's what else most people don't know about pomegranates in containers. They're drought tolerant, they handle heat, and they actually produce better fruit when they go through slight moisture stress before harvest. The arrows, those little jewel-like seeds, concentrate their flavor, and in the off-season, the tree earns its spot visually. Orange-red blooms in summer, deep jeweled fruit in fall, golden leaves before they drop. It looks expensive and considered on a balcony. It's not. It's just a pomegranate in a pot. 9, the fig that wants to be cramped. Number 9, the fig. And this one flips every rule you've been taught about container gardening. Most fruit trees hate being root-bound. They fight the pot, they stress, they stop producing. Figs love being root-bound. When the roots hit the walls of the container, something switches. The tree stops throwing energy into root expansion and starts throwing it into fruit. It's like the container sends a signal, and the fig responds by producing earlier and heavier than figs planted in open ground with unlimited space. Go with Petite Negra or Chicago Hardy. Petite Negra stays compact, produces dark, rich fruit, and is stunning enough that people buy it as an ornamental. Chicago Hardy survives to minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit and comes back every spring, which means people in genuinely cold climates are successfully growing figs in containers, dozens of fruits per season, sometimes over 100 from one mature tree. The technique that takes the flavor from good to exceptional. Let the soil dry slightly between waterings during fruiting season. Controlled moisture stress concentrates the sugars. Fresh figs eaten warm off the tree in August taste nothing like the pale, mealy ones in a plastic clamshell at the store. When you can even find fresh figs, they're $6 to $8 for a tiny container. One tree, no container to buy them ever again. Number 8, blueberries. And most people who've tried and failed at these failed for one reason: wrong soil. Blueberries need acidic soil. 4.5 to 5.5 pH. Regular potting mix sits at 6.5 to 7. That gap is the reason your blueberry plant looks sick, produces nothing, and eventually dies. But here's why a container completely changes this. You control the soil from the start. Mix in peat moss. Use an azalea and rhododendron blend. Add sulfur if needed. Get it right once, and you have the perfect environment locked in. No battling the existing ground chemistry. No guessing what the previous owner did to the soil. Top Hat and Peach Sorbet are the varieties for containers. Both stay under 3 feet. Both produce heavily. Peach Sorbet has foliage that turns orange and red in fall. It looks like a high-end ornamental plant until late summer, when it's buried in berries. One mature bush gives you 3 to 5 pounds of berries per season. Organic blueberries at the grocery store right now are $5 to $7 a pound. That's $15 to $35 of fruit from one plant every year for a decade or more. And when a late frost threatens the blossoms, roll it closer to the house. 3 feet from a wall makes a measurable temperature difference. Try that with a garden bed. Number 7, dwarf peaches. And I know peaches in a pot sounds like a bad idea. Scroll past it every time. Don't. Bonanza and El Dorado were bred specifically for containers, 5 to 6 feet tall, self-pollinating, no second tree needed, full-size fruit on a tree that fits on a patio. Here's what nobody says out loud about the peaches in your grocery store. They were picked weeks ago. They had to be. A ripe peach is too fragile to survive the journey. Trucks, but in cold storage, warehouses, fluorescent lights, then your hands, then your kitchen. What you're eating was picked hard and unripe, with the hope that it softens in transit. It does soften, but it never truly ripens. That's not a peach reaching its peak. That's a peach pretending to. Your container peach ripens on the tree. Sugar's fully developed, juice fully formed. You pick it when it gives slightly under your thumb, not when a shipping schedule says it's time. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between a snack and something you remember. 20 to 40 full-size peaches per season. And the one technique that sounds wrong but makes everything better, thin the fruit. When the babies form, remove half of them. It feels counterintuitive. The ones that remain grow bigger, sweeter, and your tree stays strong enough to produce reliably for years. Trust it. It works. Number 6, Meyer Lemon. And before you say everyone knows this one, here's what most people are doing wrong. First, the variety. Meyer lemons are a hybrid. Lemon crossed with a mandarin orange, which is why the flavor is softer, sweeter, and more complex than a standard lemon. The juice is less sharp. The zest is more fragrant. Chefs pay extra for them. You can grow them. Second, what makes them genuinely remarkable, they're ever-bearing. Look at a Meyer lemon tree in peak season, and you'll see flowers, young green fruit, and ripe yellow fruit all at the same time on the same branches. It's producing continuously, not one harvest window. A permanent grocery run on your balcony. One established tree produces 50 to 100 lemons per year at $1.50 each at the store. That's $75 to $150 annually from one pot. And here's the insight most container guides miss. Lemons are actually easier to keep alive in containers than in the ground. Too cold? Move it inside. Pest problem? You're treating one pot, not a grove. Soil issue? You chose everything that went in there. The container isn't a limitation, it's a life support system with wheels. The week those blossoms open, your entire patio smells like a citrus grove in full bloom. Guests will comment on it. You cannot put a price on that. If this list is different from what you expected, smash that like button. It genuinely gets this video in front of more people who need it. And drop a comment right now. Which one surprised you most? I read every single one. What you tell me shapes what I make next. Alright, we're getting into the ones that make people think you're lying. 5, cherries without the birds. Number 5, dwarf cherries, Romeo and Juliet varieties. Yes, those are actually the variety names. And no, it's not a coincidence that they taste incredible together. They're tart, sweet, and fresh in a way that mass-produced grocery cherries never are, because commercial cherries are also picked early and cold stored. But here's the problem most cherry growers never solve, and it destroys their harvest every year. Birds. Birds are fast, birds are coordinated, and birds have been watching your cherry tree since February. By the time you notice the fruit is almost ripe, they've already scheduled the harvest, so again, it's not yours. A container cherry tree on your patio changes everything. You throw bird netting over the entire thing in 5 minutes. It's one small tree. You can cover it completely. Try that with a 20-foot standard cherry tree. It can't be done. One mature container cherry produces 10 to 15 pounds of fruit per season. Cherries are running $8 to $10 a pound during peak season. That's $80 to $150 worth of fruit from one tree every year. And here's what nobody talks about. Cherry blossoms in spring on your porch or balcony before a single piece of fruit appears. It looks expensive. It isn't. Nobody believes exists. Number 4. This is the one I promise. Columnar apples. These trees grow straight up like a column. No sprawling canopy. No wide lateral branches reaching out in every direction. 8 to 10 feet tall. Duh, but only 2 feet wide. I didn't believe it the first time I saw one. It looks like someone removed all the branches and somehow the tree still works. Little stubby spurs come directly off the main trunk, and full-size apples hang right from them like ornaments. Varieties North Pole and Golden Sentinel are the ones to look for. Full-size apples, real flavor, on a tree with the footprint of a large pot. Here's what that means practically. You can fit 3 or 4 columnar apples on a small balcony and create a multi-variety harvest that runs from late summer all the way through fall. Different varieties ripen at different times, which extends your season. And here's what separates apples from everything else on this list. Storage, pick in September, keep them in a cool, dark corner of your home. a basement, a back closet, a garage. Eat fresh apples from your own tree in November, December, January, at $3 to $4 a pound for organic apples. You're not just saving money in one season, you're extending that savings across months. No other container fruit on this list does that. 3, the fastest fruit on the list. Number 3, strawberries, not a tree, stay with me, because nothing on this list gives you faster results or a more dramatic flavor difference. Plant ever-bearing varieties. Albion, Seascape, or Eversweet are the ones worth your time. 6 to 8 plants in one container start producing within months of planting. Fresh berries almost daily from late spring through fall. Here's what I want you to understand about the flavor gap, because it's more dramatic with strawberries than almost any other fruit. Commercial strawberries are bred for one thing: survival. They need to be firm enough to be picked by machine, packed, shipped hundreds or thousands of miles, refrigerated for days, and still look presentable on a shelf. Flavor is not in the breeding brief. Your homegrown strawberries are bred for taste, picked at exact peak ripeness, fully red, fully soft, fully developed, and eaten within minutes. Once you've had one, you cannot go back. The store-bought version starts tasting like a prop, a red strawberry-shaped prop. And here's the move that makes this self-sustaining indefinitely. Let your strongest plants run. Strawberry runners are baby plants the mother sends out on little stems. Pin them into small pots of soil, wait 2 weeks, cut them free. You now have new plants for free. Replace your aging plants with these every couple of years. The system feeds itself. After year 1, your cost is basically zero. Number 2, this is the tree that got me called delusional. Dwarf avocados. Wurts, also sold as Little Cato. Yes, they fruit in containers. Yes, it takes 3 to 4 years before significant production. And yes, I know that sounds like a long time, but I want you to reframe it completely. You're going to be buying avocados for the next 3 to 4 years anyway, at $2 to $5 each every week for the rest of your life. That's already happening. The question isn't whether you'll spend that money, it's whether you plant the tree or not. One mature container Wurtz avocado produces 20 to 30 fruits per year, at $5 to $8 each at grocery stores for 20 plus years, 20 years, that's one pot, on one patio, potentially thousands of dollars of fruit, over decades. The Wurtz is self-pollinating, which means one tree can do it alone, though 2 will always give you better yields. Keep it in your largest container, 25 to 30 gallons once established. It wants sharp drainage, consistent watering, and patience. And because it's in a container, you can bring it inside during cold snaps. People in climates that cannot grow avocados outdoors, the climates with real winters, are growing them in containers anyway. They come inside in November, they go back out in April. They produce fruit in environments where that should be impossible. Drainage, patience, that's the whole formula. 1, the banana secret. Number 1. And I genuinely promise, you didn't see this coming. Dwarf bananas, dwarf Cavendish, super dwarf Cavendish, full-size bananas from a pot on your balcony patio, or even indoors near a bright window. Let me give you the numbers first. Fruit within 18 months to 2 years from a young plant. 50 to 100 bananas per harvest cycle. A 20 to 40 pound bunch that you cut yourself with a knife from a plant you grew. The taste difference is real. Store bananas are picked green and gassed with ethylene to ripen in transit. Yours ripen naturally on the plant. Slower, fuller development, noticeably sweeter. But here's why the banana is number 1, and it's got nothing to do with the fruit. After the main stem fruits, it dies back. That stem is done. It gave everything. But before it dies, it sends up pups from the base, new shoots, baby banana plants emerging from the soil around the mother plant. You let them grow to a foot or 2, sever them at the root, pot them up, and you now have new banana plants. For free, you keep some, you give some away, you sell them to neighbors, you trade them for other plants. One plant becomes an infinite supply of plants. In cold climates, cut the stem back in fall, move the container inside or to a garage, water minimally through winter. In spring, new growth from the base. It comes back every year. The container makes things possible that shouldn't be possible, and that's the whole point of this list. The difference maker, the bonus I promised, and it's not what you're expecting. It's not a fertilizer, it's not a gadget, it's not a special soil amendment, it's mulch. 2 to 3 inches of wood chips or straw on top of the soil in every single container you own. 3 things happen and all 3 matter. First, soil temperature stabilizes. The top of a container pot in direct summer sun can reach temperatures that kill roots. Mulch insulates. Roots stay cooler in summer, warmer on cold nights. Second, moisture locks in. Without mulch, container soil can lose significant moisture within hours on a hot day. With mulch, that same pot stays moist 2 to 3 times longer. You water less, your trees stress less. Stressed trees don't produce well. Third, it breaks down slowly over months and feeds your soil organic matter for free. A slow, continuous amendment that improves your soil structure while you do nothing. I added mulch to my containers and production noticeably improved within 1 season. Not 1 year, 1 season. Here's how to get it free and never pay for it. Call any tree trimming or arborist service near you. Ask for wood chips. These companies pay to haul chips away. Every job generates a truck full and it costs them money to dispose of it. Most will drop a load at your address for nothing. Some will even text you when they're working nearby. One phone call, free mulch for years. That's the thing that separates the people on this list whose trees quietly die from the people who can't give the fruit away fast enough. So that's 15 trees, a balcony, a few pots, and proof that the neighbor who laughed will eventually knock on your door. You don't need more space to grow food. You just need smarter plants. Start with one, the easiest one, the one that excited you most, the one that made you think, wait, that's actually possible. Then another. And before long, your small space is producing more fruit than you know what to do with. Now I want to know, which of these are you starting with and what's your setup? Balcony, rooftop, patio, windowsill, apartment window? Tell me in the comments and I'll tell you exactly how to make it work for your specific space. Subscribe if you haven't. New video every week. I'll see you in the next one. Now go grow something.